First, I'm going to talk about the parts of the beam, the sound beam, and kind of what they do. So the first part is the aperture, which is also the transducer diameter, and they're equal to each other. And next is the near zone, which is also the Fresnel zone, and this is kind of where it is more narrow when it comes out first out of the transducer. Then the next is the focal length, focal depth, or is called the near zone length. And this is the distance from the transducer to the focal point. And then after that is the focal zone, which is half of it is in the near zone and half of it is in the far zone. And in the middle of the focal zone is the focal point, which we also call the focus. This is where the best pictures are taken and where the beam is the most narrow. The focal zone is also relatively narrow and also pretty good with photos too. The next is the far zone, which is also called the Fraunhofer zone, and this is where the beam diverges and expands. And then the next we will talk about, so it starts with the aperture being equal to the transducer diameter. And as I said, it narrows when it goes into the focal zone and then expands as it comes back out to the far zone. And the focal point is where it's most accurate, which is also the focus, but it's also pretty relatively accurate in the focal zone as well. But the focus point is where it's the best to have the most accurate picture. The early transducers used mechanical focusing, so it had a fixed focus that you couldn't change. So you could either have a high frequency or a low frequency. And there was also mechanical steering. And the dilemma was fixed by people coming up with the array transducers. So it has multiple crystals instead of one. And so now we are able to do electronic steering and electronic focusing, which allows us to change the depth and see things much better in the body and be able to control that kind of thing, those kind of things. And when the sound beam converges, it becomes more narrow, which makes a better lateral resolution. And when it diverges or expands, it becomes wider, which makes the lateral resolution worse than it was. And yeah.